Chapter 12. Kira was running a little late. It took her a lot to convince her grandmother to watch little Eric. My mom Edna wanted her to quit her job, go to school, and be a better mother. Deep down, Kira knew the old woman was right, but she still disregarded her advice and did what she wanted. It was crazy that a little over a year ago, her life was amazing. She was with the love of her life, Eric, who was accepted into law school, and they were going to have a baby. Their lives were planned out. Within mere seconds, a stray bullet took her child's father away forever. Kira still couldn't believe that this city took another person she loved away from her, and she swore she would take control of her life and take care of their son. Kira walked into an old abandoned building. She looked around the old, dark, and dusty place that was covered in trash and dirt. Kira glanced at the message on her phone Jordan sent to double-check the address. Unfortunately, it was the right location. An enormous shadow loomed over her, blocking out the sun. She turned towards the shadow. The mammoth-sized man that stood before her had to be close to 7 foot tall and had to weigh somewhere north of 300 pounds. She backed up from the bald mountain. "My name is Cypress Ramsey, and I'm here to take you to my boss. I need to put this over your head." Cypress' voice was deep and rumbling. He held up a black hood. Kira eyed the giant in the designer suit. "Why all this low-down shit?" she asked. Cypress glared down at her. "If you want to meet my boss, this is the only way," he replied. Kira hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Cypress frisked her first, then pulled out her cell phone and turned it off. He put it in a small black bag that blocked any signal from connecting to her phone. He put it in his pocket, then put the hood over her head. Darkness engulfed her. Cypress led her out of the building and helped her into a vehicle. They drove for about 10 minutes until she felt the vehicle drive down some kind of hill. In Kira's mind, she felt like the whole thing took much longer as she felt herself slip closer to panic than she wanted. She had to stay calm, or at least act like she was. The truck stopped. The big man helped her out and guided her steps to an elevator. As the elevator rose, Kira's stomach fell. When it stopped, he took her arm and led her out. Cypress removed the hood, and as soon as Kira's eyes adjusted to the light, she saw she was standing in front of an apartment door. Covered by black sheets, the windows weren't an option for her to determine where they were located. Jordan opened the door and told Cypress he was ready. Cypress turned to Kira. "Lift your hands," he commanded. "You already frisked me," she said haughtily. He frowned down at her. "If you want to see my boss, this is how it works." Cypress frisked her again. "Maybe next time I can frisk her," Jordan said, his voice making her skin crawl. He lustfully stared at her. Kira made a face like she'd just tasted something nasty. "Too bad. I don't deal with subordinates. I only deal with the top man." She smirked at him. Turning to Cypress, she said, "Big man, take me to the king." The walking wall led Kira into the apartment. Lining the walls were expensive-looking paintings, sculptures, and overpriced furniture. The place was massive, and she realized she was probably standing in the middle of a penthouse. Cypress walked her to the bathroom. She went in and changed into a very revealing bikini. After exiting the bathroom, the pair made their way into a dark room. Cypress nodded to a shadowed figure seated in the room's corner. Kira couldn't make out any features of the person's face. The figure waved his hand. Cypress nodded, exited, closing the door behind him. Kira stood there for what seemed like an eternity. The young woman took a deep breath. "Can I see who I'm dancing for?" Kira asked as she tried to keep the nervousness from her voice. The dark figure pulled something from his side, pointed it at Kira, and pressed it. Kira felt her breath leave her chest, and she tried desperately not to crumple to the floor in agony. Chapter 13. The corner of P Ave and South Street was one of the worst areas in Harm City. Nicknamed the Dead Zone because of the many violent deaths and the multiple drug addicts, it became a place most citizens avoided. As much of an undesirable destination as the area was, it was a gold mine in the drug business. It was considered the Walmart of Harm City. Anyone could go there to get any illegal product they needed. Brian walked up to Rodney, who was already waiting at the corner for him. The two men fist-bumped each other, and Brian looked around. "It looks like the dead zone hasn't changed that much," he muttered, eyeing the dilapidated houses and buildings surrounding them. "It's gotten worse and more profitable. Not to mention it's drawn the attention of Alonzo Green." "That's the dude from the West Coast I keep hearing about?" Rodney nodded. "He tried to make a play on this area by hiring some local muscle to push us out, but we got word and neutralized the problem." He shrugged. "We sent Alonzo a clear message yesterday." Brian bobbed his head and continued to look around. Rodney felt tension coming off his friend in waves. "Are you good?" "Are we using kids to smuggle product into the city?" Rodney raised his eyebrows at the question, staring at him. "The king has almost every way to import product into the city on lockdown, so we don't need to have little kids move anything in," he replied. "If you were talking about the kid from the other day, we believe he was working for Alonzo as a test run to see other ways to bring product in." "Did we take the kid out?" Brian asked. "That's the thing. None of our people had anything to do with it." "Why don't we just take this Alonzo guy out?" "Nobody's seen him on the street," Rodney shrugged. "He's like a ghost." Brian gave Rodney a hard look. "Kind of like the king, huh? I mean, we swear loyalty to a guy we never even have seen, and that doesn't bother you?" Rodney rubbed a hand over his facial hair, irritated. "Our orders come from Jordan. He gets them from the king himself." He sighed. "Where is this coming from?" Brian brushed his hand over his shaved head. "Spending time behind bars gets you thinking and wondering where your loyalties should be." Rodney opened his mouth, but Brian's attention moved to a man walking toward them. The man started moving at a rapid pace as he came closer to them. Brian noticed something in his right hand, a gun, pointed in their direction. Brian's eyes widened, and a gunshot rang out. He dove into Rodney, knocking them both to the ground. The two bullets missed by mere inches. Brian and Rodney both pulled out their guns, but the guy was already in the wind. "I guess that was Alonzo Green's response to the king's message," Brian said.